Howdy folks, Grok the DuckFarmer here, and I'm on the FTOG FTB Stoneblock 3 server, and the blood magic stuff is done. I've got all the ethereal slates that I needed to produce. I've got all the singularities made, and so my setup here is kind of in a deactivated mode. The zombie bits, those are all gone. I just stuck my top orb in here just to fill up my network, which is a full 10 million LPs in there. And, or LEs, life essences, whatever. Down here, all the witches are gone. I don't need them just ticking. I've turned on the light to stop the mobs spawning in here, just because, you know, I don't need extra stuff just sitting around ticking. I did do a little bit of tidying around and decorating a little bit of plants around, some trees, just because, I've got all four corners are now built with stuff. And so, make it look nice here. I think it needs a real good tree right here. I need to figure out what to build and put there. Anyway, so that's done. I don't know if I'm ever going to be doing anything more with blood magic. There's a few sigils that are kind of fun to have, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it there. It's too much of a pain to assemble, so I'll just leave it. Anyway, what I do want to do, I do want to talk about this saturated tau. I've got a witch in here, which I renamed Frank with a name tag, and because the witch is sitting here just fine, let's go ahead and yank her off. Yoink. There's a saturated tau in there. The manual talks about an animal, so that's why I was using sheep and cows, but they have a limited amount of health and they die pretty quickly. Whereas if you stick a witch in here, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do that there. You stick a witch in here as the stuff grows. Yeah, let's have it grow. Why not? You can see how it's saturated tau because it's sapping some of the blood from Frank here, and I've got myself a nice mature tau again. And the witch heals herself, which is fantastic. So that's the way to go. I think that's the easiest way to set this up, and why not? So that means the blood magic stuff is done. I'm down to 2 of the singularities, the wall and the polonium, and you can see I've already got stuff ready to do the polonium, which means I better put on my hazmat suit, because one of the things that can happen if you're messing with fission reactors, you can have radiation leaks, or what we in the Friends Through Online Gaming group sometimes call it a Mr. Treats incident. So I've got this on just in case I mess up. And let's drop off these little fruits because we don't need these right now. Go away. Let's keep those for there right now. Go away, go away, go away, go away. There are some machines that are going to be needed to make the polonium. And isotopic centrifuge, not a problem. It's got EMC. The pressurized reaction chamber, not a problem to make. EMC. Chemical infuser, electrolytic separator, rotary concentrator, chemical oxidizer, and the chemical dissolution chamber, all of which have EMC and all of which I made. Because, as soon as I made them and I went ahead and programmed the system, I said, fine, this device needs multiples. I don't care anymore. I've got multiples. I can make as many as I want. Let's go over to the engineering section. And I did some work down below because I wanted to be far, far away from the rest of the base because of, again, that Mr. Treats incident that we don't want to do. Now, before I show off what I've done, I should talk about ways of setting up mechanism. And here's a screenshot from an older series that I did where this is making that triple, not triple, but the quintuple ore processing. So I get 5 times the ingots from every ore that I input in here. And you can see there's lots and lots of canisters handling the gases, moving stuff around. I like this setup because it's very condensed. Power is coming from underneath. There's very few cables that are needed for this. It just runs. And I like that. That looks really nice. Now, here's a shot in a creative world where I was playing with this to figure out exactly the steps I would need to get the fissile fuel for getting things set up for making the polonium. And this, I would say, is a step up from what I was doing before, in that I'm using XNet as a way of moving stuff around. Not huge amounts of stuff is being moved around with the XNet, but it's there. It's also transferring power, but I'm also still using the flow of the chemicals through using tanks as a way of storage, as well as moving the stuff. So I've got an idea of doing this, but I'm going to be using entanglers as a way of moving the stuff around without having to worry about cabling or lots of tanks. So let me go ahead and show you the setup that I have down here. Wow, wrong key. And I've prepped a few things, as you can see. This is a 2x2 chunk area, and I don't know how tall this is. Maybe 18, something like that. That's a 15 by 15 by 15 reactor, the fission reactor, and I don't like making it any bigger than that. You can go up to 18 by 18 by 18, but that spans over a chunk. And you can run into some real issues where, especially if you don't have chunk loading, if you come into the area running from a distance, one chunk that the reactor's in loads, but the other chunk is not. And so the reactor is seen as an incomplete reactor. And you can have all sorts of problems with multi-structure devices like that. So I try to keep it all within a chunk. And that's why I'm doing that. Now, one of the things I do, and I'll describe everything I've got here, but I like doing things backwards. In that, for example, if I'm setting up a mob farm, I set up the item collection first, and then I'll set up the kill zone as part of the structure, and only at the very last do I actually turn it on with cursed earth or lights turned off or stuff like that, and run mobs through to see how it works. And I've learned this because I don't want to have overspills of items, because that can cause massive lag when there's thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of items just spilled out all over onto the ground. I also want to make sure that I have the killing zone set up. Having learned that in one of the FTOG servers where I set up a farm with cursed earth in the nether to get blazes and wither skeletons. And unfortunately, I misclicked because I was pointing at stuff, and I had the cursed earth egg in my hand, and I dropped it on there, and it made the cursed earth, and I hadn't enclosed my structure. So they just poured out in huge numbers, and it took 4 or 5 of us to get together and kill off everything and get to a state where they weren't pouring out. And we died again and again and again. So I've learned from my lesson. I set up the kill chamber before I set the mob farm. So in the reaction setup, reactor setup, I start from the end. The last thing that's made is a waste, a spent fuel that can only really be stored in these radioactive waste barrels. So I have an entire 2x2 chunk area filled up with these waste barrels. Well, minus 1 light, just because, you know, I liked having the light here. And I've got these pressurized tubes, which connect. Mechanism uses that for the waste, because it's a gas, actually. You would think it would be a solid, but no, it's a gas, a very radioactive gas. So that end product is going to be piped down into this waste barrel, and it's hard to see, but that's an out on that tube. So it will input into all of these waste barrels down here, because they will slowly tick away and allow this waste to decay. So I'm curious, depending on the speed of this, whether or not I get any amount sticking around. I don't know. If you fill up your waste barrels, they will spill, and that will cause radiation in the area. Likewise, if you don't process all the waste out of here into these barrels, your reactor will fill up and it'll spill, which is again a problem. Okay, so I've got this set up here, and let's take a look at what I need. And again, I run backwards with this. I am wanting the polonium. That's the solid, little blitz here. Polonium. Did I spell it right? Oh, no, I did. Okay. Polonium. And it also produces the spent nuclear waste, which is going to get dispensed down there. That is created by the pressurized reaction chamber, which needs fluoride dust as a solid and water being inputted. It's getting also polonium as a gas, and it makes the solids. Now, the gas is being created by another set of reaction chambers. They are getting sulfur dusts and water, and they're also getting the nuclear waste from the reactor, and there's the reactor. So that's how I'm going to get this made. So looking at this, here's my reactive output. Here's my pressurized reaction chamber, and this, it is configured to output the items on the right. So I have my ender storage chest to capture that and throw it into my network. Now, I also have this broken up into 3 different XNet channels, and each one are using their own little controller and power. This one, the reason why I'm doing that is they all have power, but this one here, I'm saying this is where it's getting the fluorite from here and it's distributing it there, and then it's taking the spent nuclear waste and just depositing here. I split them up just so that there was no confusion as to who's getting what. This waste only goes there, no other options. Likewise over here, I've got 5 of these pressure reaction chambers, and I'm hoping that's enough to handle the spent fuel that comes out of here. I don't know. I did set them up. Oh, so this is configured. So again, power, and here's the input for water on all of them. And here's where we are pulling out the sulfur and giving it to all of them. And here's where all 5 of them are exporting out the polonium gas, and it gets inserted down the line into the system to make the solid pellets. So again, this polonium gas is only coming from here and only going there. Completely separate channel from this, where it's taking the spent fuel and it's going into here. I do have it set up where it's using a priority, and this has a priority of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would rather have this one get all of that's fuel that's been produced, the waste, and then spill over to this one, and then spill it over to this, rather than giving them each part of an amount that it processes. And I can't remember if it needs a full 1,000 millibuckets or can process with 100 millibuckets. I don't know. I'd have to play with it and find out. Anyway, so I would rather this guy always run and then this guy sometimes run than just having these all split out. I'm thinking it will be a little bit faster that way. Not 100% sure, but I think so. Anyway, and these are the outputs. I made 3 because why not? That way we got these 3 going out to 5. It goes, if this is the 1,000, that will become 100, that will become 10. Or maybe it's I'm trying to remember if it goes down by 100 or down by 1,000. I don't remember. I'll find out as soon as I turn this on. So again, this is a 100 by 100. This is a 15 by 15 by 15 reactor. And because all these items have EMC, it was super easy to set up. I just grabbed out of my system all the stuff I needed. You don't have to use the reactor glass, but I like being able to see in. So 15 by 15 by 15, the bottom's all solid casings, and you have to use casings on the edges. And then you can see inside, we've got these other ports in here. The top has to be the control rod assembly, and underneath it, fission fuel assembly. And you stack them up. And the most efficient way of getting the waste you want is that little checkerboard pattern. So every other block. And you need a coolant, in which case I'm using water. And because all these things use EMC, here's my setup. I've got the ultimate fluid tank, and I've got the Evertide amulet stuck in here, and this is set to empty. So it just continually will fill this up, and if you've got our configurator, you want to crouch click it so it turns lighter. See how these are a lighter purple and that's a darker purple? That works as an output. So I don't need cables. It just automatically outputs everything to the port below. And you can see I've got a lot more ports than I really have tanks set up. If this is enough water, then I'm good. If I need more water, I'll set them up. But that's the idea for right now. Over here, I have the input for fuel. And this one is the output for the waste. Let me configure this again. Input only, output waste, output coolant. That's what I'm doing here. So all the steam that's being generated from the reaction goes into a fluid trash can and gets disposed because I don't care. I could use the steam and I could generate a lot of power with a turbine. I don't care. At this point, I'm just making this as is. Let's set this up. Doink. There, those little red particles tells me that this is fully set up, and boom, I've got water in there. So that worked really fast. And then I need to, let me try changing this down. I wonder if this will be seen. They are seen. Okay. So I've got the I've got the 3 of these fission chamber pieces, and they're all exporting out. And they're going in priority mode, which I already explained. So this is all connected. I had to make this and get these connected because they don't actually form a connection until the multi-structure here is formed. All right, so the output is done. The fission reactor is done. So now let's look at the fissile fuel, and that's this process over here. So the reds, as you can see over there as well, the reds are inputs into the system. The greens, or the warped wood, that is the machines, and the birch, those are items and stuff being moved about. So working backwards, I need the fission reactor. The fission reactor needs fissile fuel. To make that, I need the isotropic centrifuge getting fed uranium hexafluoride. That is being made in a chemical infuser. One side, you pump in uranium oxide, which you take a chemical oxidizer and you feed it yellow cake uranium, which has EMC. So I'm going to use that. On the other side, you need to give it hydrofluoric acid, which means I need a chemical dissolution chamber, which feeds it solid fluoride bits and sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid comes from the chemical infuser, where I take, there's something missing here. Yeah, I should be getting the sulfuric trioxide. Here's the sulfur trioxide. Oh, this sulfuric trioxide should be going in here. The water vapor from a rotary condensator and with an input of water, that goes in one side, and then the sulfur trioxide, which is right underneath the chemical infuser, that goes in. The sulfur trioxide is made in the chemical infuser, fed with oxygen. You need the electrolytic separator, water, and on the other side, sulfur dioxide coming in with a chemical oxidizer, the other one, and solid sulfur. All of these red things have EMC, or I can use water using that same tank trick. So other than the mistake of the sulfur trioxide going here and all these things moving over a little bit, that's the structure. And the way I did it is I came into here and I said, okay, I need a pressurized reaction chamber with fluoride and polonium gas to make the pellet. That's what I want. So if I click, oh, this one over here is seed oil, water, a whole bunch of different things. Water is the easiest. So polonium gas is made in another pressurized reaction chamber, added dust. You've got the nuclear waste. The nuclear waste comes from the fission reactor. And for that, we need fissile fuel and water. And so again, click on the fissile fuel. Fissile fuel comes from the, you can see how you use the JEI here to walk your way down the recipes. And I set up a little piece of paper where I diagrammed everything out. Similar to this, but I wrote it. So knowing that, let's come over here and we'll start from the bottom and work our way up. So this is what I'm saying, a different setup. Instead of using, why am I using XNet over here when I'm not using much of XNet over here, or any? because of that radioactive danger. If you have a block here, like this chamber, and it's filled with waste that's radioactive, if I break this, it will irradiate the area in a fairly large radius. Same if I break this, what's full, and that if it's full, and any of the connectors, pipes and stuff from the mechanism, if you break them while they contain radioactive items, that will irradiate the area. But, and I tested this in creative, if I'm using XNet and stuff is piping around and I break these cables, no radiation is released. That's why I'm using XNet here. It's much safer. So as long as I remember, do not break any of these blocks. So, don't just randomly swing around with this. That would be good. All right, so that's why I'm doing that over there. And over here, I'm going to use entanglers. So you can see I've got several set up to move the stuff around. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 machines. And if you look at the greens, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the fission reactor, that's that one there. So I've got everything set up. So first, I need to make oxygen. Well, power goes into the electrolytic separator. It takes water and it splits it into hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen automatically ports out to the left. Oxygen gets ported out to the right. And I have it dumping excess for the hydrogen because I really don't care about that whatsoever. And so that takes care of it. That inputs to this chemical tank, and I'm using the ultimate one so I can get as much storage as possible for it. And I've configured this so it outputs up so that it goes to this tank. This is the one I'm going to be using. Likewise, sulfur dioxide, I need lots. So I have my personal EMC link. It's giving me sulfur dust. It's getting sent out to these 3 machines, power in the back, so that they can generate sulfur dust for me into the sulfur dioxide. And you can see this tank is filling up. That tank's already filled. That tank's already filled because they all fill up to this top one. And then to make the sulfur trioxide, I need to take the dioxide and add more oxygen. That makes it di2 to tri3. So for that, if we look at sulfur trioxide, if we look at the gas, it takes oxygen from the left and the sulfur dioxide from the right to make the sulfur trioxide in the middle, which I've told it to go up. So here's where I need an entangler, and it's unbound. Oh, nope, I don't want to bind you to a block. Let's see if I can right-click you and bind you here. Ah, yes, good. Okay. And this is already set up, if we look at it, to output to the right. So this entangler allows me to pretend that this tank here is right here. And so it gives me room, but I'm connected as if it's right at this spot. And if everything is going on, why is this not going on? Let's look at gases. Input from the left, that should be giving me oxygen. Why give me oxygen? You should be giving me oxygen. Let's take the sulfur dioxide, crouch, click, and that, if I configure this right, yeah, see, this is outputting on the left, so that should be coming into here, and it's not, which is very annoying. Let's go to gases, turn it on and off. Why connect? Because power coming from the bottom, gas, oh, that's items. I don't care about items. Gases, it should be getting the input, that's the right, coming from the right, that from the left. Why work? Let me toggle this, as it should, and output. And are you now outputting? It's not. That's annoying. Okay, well, let's take you and break you and put you there, still entangled. What if you need a tank? Oh, wait, I can't. I have to use a gas, which is that one, pressurized tube. let's put you there, and no, let's set you to output. Okay, so it needs these cables. Dang it. I think this is a bug with the entangler block, because this will output to another object, another mechanism thing. So if this chemical infuser were right here, it would output automatically. Okay, so there's a limitation. I'm gonna go ahead and make you look funky by putting you down here. Because nope, I can't, because it's configured to come out from the left. Let's break you and put you down again. Okay, there. It did it, and there we go. This now is creating the sulfur trioxide. I have lots of upgrades to these. And how are you doing power-wise? Yeah, very low power, but it's enough to run. I only have one of these set up there. Anyway, this, you can see it is creating the sulfur trioxide for me, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, so over here, I need to make some water vapor using the rotary condensator. We're taking the water, turning it into water vapor that goes into here, which goes up to there. Sulfuric acid. I'm going to go ahead and break that and put that here, and then break this and put that there. So sulfuric acid is, now I've got to remember what I need here. Sulfuric acid, so the doxide and the oxygen that get me the trioxide. So I need the water vapor coming in and the sulfur trioxide to make the sulfuric acid. All right, so this guy, sulfur trioxide, and I'm not sure if it really cares which direction. Let's, sulfuric acid. Does it really care? I don't know. We'll do the sulfur trioxide on the left and the water vapor on the right. Okay, so let's go ahead and bind you to this guy because it's going in on the left. Nope. Crouch click, right click. All right. And then we put you there. Let's go ahead and pump you out. There's the sulfur trioxide. And now we need the water vapor. So we're going to click you, put a pipe in place. And that's going to start making. What you not making? Oh, are you supposed to come from the left? Yep, you need to output on the left. It's the part where you come out from the left. Try this. Why you no come out from the left? Why you not take... Sulfuric acid should be the sulfur trioxide plus water vapor. There's the water vapor. There's the sulfur trioxide. Gases. Input 2. That should work. Why you no work? Gases. You are outputting on the left. Let's toggle through this back to that. I am not sure why this is not outputting like it should, because it certainly should. I'm going to break you. I'm going to put you there. Let's have you output from the top. Output on the top. Let's crouch here. There we go. I have no idea why it wouldn't work on the left, but works from the top. So yay, that works. Hydrofluoric acid here. Let's go ahead and put that down. This is the sulfuric acid plus the fluorite makes the hydrofluoric acid, and that's already in there. So if we crouch, click you, and click you, and let's set you up to make sure that you output on the top. And we click you, and let's set you to out, and you can see it's going in. Yep. And if we look at this, this is making the hydrofluoric acid. Cool. All right, now, how are you sped up? Nope, you've got all the upgrades. Okay, good. So this guy, the hydrofluoric acid plus the uranium oxide. So this should already be made. The yellow uranium EMC is going into here, and the uranium hexafluoride, that's them down below. Configure you to come out the top, and configure you also to come out the top. And to make the uranium hexafluoride, again, we're going to combine the two. So let's take a look at the hexafluoride. And that wants the uranium oxide on the left and the hydrofluoric acid on the right. The other right. You know what I said. So you to there. No. Crouch click, right click. Crouch click, right click. And we'll put those in place and let's force them to output. It's a real bummer that they just don't automatically output like they should, because that they really should. So there's the uranium hexafluoride. That should be gases going up. That's where it should be going, out the top. There we go. So now that's going into the chemical tank up here. That's slow. And again, a check. There's no upgrades. Okay, I would need to go ahead and upgrade that. So that's one set of machines that needs upgrades. Now this hexafluoride, that is what's going to be converted by these guys into the fissile fuel. So let's right click this. Let's break this. And I need a block. Fortunately, I have, let's see. That's another. I just need a simple. I don't want to use sand. Okay, fine. We'll use one of these. Okay, because you're a block. Let's put the entangle block there. Break this. Can I right click you now? Yes, because it's still bound over there, which is good. But now I need the pipes, you and you. And let's set this up to make sure that it outputs on both sides. Yes, left and right. I already configured that. And I'm doing that so that it should hopefully split it 50-50 through here. Let's find out. 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 And obviously there's sounds. No, it's only going out that way. What? Stop that. Are you only getting this? Yeah. This is not getting anything. Okay, well, as long as this one can handle all of it, fine. I don't care. As soon as this can't handle it and this starts backing up, it'll overflow into this other one. And this guy here is making the fissile fuel, and we can see that the fissile fuel is going into my reactor. All right, do you have upgrades? We'll find out. No upgrades there. All right, go away. Let's get some upgrades real quick. Upgrades. I want 3 sets of energy upgrades and 3 sets of speed upgrades. Grab one of you down. And so energy upgrade, speed upgrade. And I've got 3 of these dimensional cells next to them because these guys are real energy hogs. Yep. It's processing things fast. And then this, I think, is the last one that needed updates. There we go. So that should hopefully speed up the making of the fuel. Yeah, the hexafluoride. And you getting any? Nope, still not getting any. So this does not evenly split. It seems like it's your typical Minecraft thing where one direction, in this case, south is getting it before north does. Well, poop, but that's okay. I don't care. This over here, if I right-click here, I've got some, or if I just look, I've got 57, 58, the buckets of fissile fuel is coming in pretty fast, which is good. Let's come over this side. And if I just right-click, I can activate, and this has got a burn rate of 0.1 millibuckets per tick. Very low. And you can see the waste is coming out 1 millibucket at a time, which is getting sent, hopefully. Is it getting picked up? Oh, it's going over here. Oh, this is number 5. Interesting. So the higher the number, the sooner it goes out. Okay, I was expecting it would go to the lowest number first. Now, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's the 5 is higher or 1 is higher as far as it's working. So this will process through here. Once this has sufficient 1,000 millibuckets, maybe 100, it will go ahead and process through, and we'll continue on this way. 95, 97, 99. It's got to be higher than 100, so probably 1,000. So this is running at 1 millibucket per tick. That's not very fast. Temperature is fine. We have plenty of space. The coolant is being handled. This is keeping going up, so I'm not burning fast enough. So let's up the rate, and let's do a factor of 10. So we went from 1/10 of a millibucket to a full millibucket of burn rate. And we're still getting more fuel, but we should be doing 10 times as much waste. We're up to 330, so my guess is it needs a full bucket. Like I said, it's been a long time, or maybe I didn't say. It's been a long time since I've built one of these. Let's do a factor of 10 and bump it up to 10 millibuckets. We're still getting more fuel than this is burning. Water is still doing fine. Looking at here, looks like it's only tapped into some of this row. So we've got plenty of coolant. How are you doing here? We've got 4,000 millibuckets of waste. Are you pushing out anything here? It's obviously not doing something right. So we've got the waste here. It's not out. This needs stuff. Okay, why are you not getting in here? This is extracting the fluoride dust, and that should be inserting. Oh, the channel's off. Let's turn the channel back on. Now that's running. Looks like it's 100 millibuckets is when this runs. So yeah, okay. So that's outputting to here. Oh, you need stuff here too. All right. This one, the fluorite. Let's turn that on. And if we look at you, there's polonium in here. We got the fluorite. This, I bet we probably need a full 1,000 millibuckets, so a full bucket to make that work. Cool. All right, so that's processing through. There's always those little things that get you. So we're running at 10 millibuckets, and we're still producing more fuel than this is running. So let's up this by another factor of 10, and let's go to 100 and keep a close eye. Okay, now this is burning more than the fuel, which is okay. I'm fine with that. Looking at the water, looks like we're only using half of the water processing that I'm doing, so 3 of these rows. So yeah, this looks like this is working much nicer. Okay, so that's producing. You've got your stuff. I'm getting the green glows on. They all have it. Okay. Oh, I don't have enough water being produced by this. All right. Instead of, because of the limitation of how fast this pours, I'm going to have to take this and reproduce that setup there over here. And that'll give me all the water I need. How are you doing? And we've got 2 of these polonium pellets already. So yay, I need to set this up. Let me take one of you. Dun, 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 dun. Mechanism chapter is done. Let's come back to the main base, and I will set up a spot here for it. And let me grab one of these, and I will put that there. Let me pull you out again and set you up here to export. Put you back there. Oh, now there's 3. Let me take 1. And now I need to change this to some other number. Let's change that to less than. And see how it puts those automatically in, because this is configured as such. Let's configure this. That can go away. This will go in, and it sucked in 2 of those, and it's waiting for the 3rd. So if I put that here, it gets sucked out, and it already made it. Let's come into here and singularities, and I want this 1 polonium, which will complete the quest for that. Tell it here, and 3, 4. So it's got to be greater than 1634. So as soon as it turns to 1635, the redstone will kick on. That will stop pushing in anymore, and the rest will just sit here because I don't need any more singularities. I could actually use this for other stuff. Not that I can think of any stuff that I really want, but I could if I really, really wanted to. So there we go. I want to go take a look at it again because it's all set up and running, and it's been a long time since I've set up a fission reactor like this to make the polonium. And I'm liking the entanglers here. I just wish that I didn't need extra cabling. I wish I could push it directly out. That would be so nice. But oh well. I've got it running. It looks like it's running really well. We've got plenty of coolant. I do need to fiddle with the water here. I thought it would run fast enough. Evidently, no. So that's the only thing I need to do. That will up my processing, and I will get a lot more polonium, and I will get my singularities. There you go. So, actually, I should be speaking like this because I've got the mask on.
All right, so this has been Grok the DuckFarmer here on the FTOG FTB Stoneblock 3 server down here in the fission area, trying to be safe and not have a Mr. Treats moment here.
Honey, what are you doing?
I'm talking through my mask.
I see.
Yes, that's what I do. Anyway, I've been having too much fun here, and it's been a long time since I've set this up, and it looks really good. I like it. Anyway, this has been Grok the DuckFarmer, and I already talked about that. So, just time for me to say goodbye.